Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time for episode number 13, unlucky episode number 13 of our now Ferrari F1 2014 career mode, the ultimate driver, of course, the story where we come from Formula C and Formula B in the lower formulas to now move up into Formula 1. It's been a successful debut season so far, it's been a successful debut first rounds here for Ferrari, obviously getting a podium at Hungary, then a win, a famous win last time out in Belgium. We'll be looking to replicate that performance in front of the Tifosi, the massive crowd here turning out to support Ferrari, their home team here in Monza. But there you can see the teammate challenge there against Fernando Alonso. You saw the strategy there. We're looking for a two-stop in this race as well. But before we get into the race, it's time to look at the qualifying report. For the second weekend in a row, it would be Yusufu fastest in Q1 in front of both of the Mercedes. All of the front runners made it through easily on primes, whilst Adrian Sutil was 9th fastest on options. It would be Yusufu setting the pace once again in Q2, as he was 3/10 quicker than Lewis Hamilton. Fernando Alonso would take 3rd, as Ferrari showed promising pace in front of the Tifosi. At the other end, Kevin Magnussen and Sergio Perez were eliminated in 11th and 12th along with the usual suspects. But when it mattered, Lewis Hamilton would take his 12th pole of the season from fellow Brit Yusufu in the Ferrari. Nico Rosberg was 3rd from Fernando Alonso as the Tifosi celebrated fantastic Ferrari pace. It was a disappointing day, however, for Red Bull, as they could only take 5th and 7th and split by the Williams of Felipe Massa. So all of this means that Lewis Hamilton will take pole for the Italian Grand Prix here in Monza in front of fellow Brit Yusufu, then Rosberg, Alonso and Sebastian Vettel in 5th. Felipe Massa would take 6th in front of Daniel Ricciardo, with Hülkenberg in 8th, Bottas in 9th and Jenson Button in 10th for McLaren. Well, an absolutely fantastic qualifying session, and especially in comparison to last time out in Belgium. We start 2nd on the grid here, and our teammate Fernando Alonso 4th on the grid. The Mercedes and Ferraris absolutely dominating the first 2 rows of the grid. We were only, I think it was 3 to 5 hundredths off Lewis Hamilton for pole. He takes his 12th pole of the season, but now 5 lights are on and they are now off here in Monza in front of the Tifosi. It's a fantastic start for myself, a brilliant start as well for Fernando Alonso behind. He's already passed Rosberg and we're already breezing our way past Lewis Hamilton and down into first place. Terrible start for both the Mercedes, and look at this, Alonso going up the inside of Hamilton as we go into the first chicane, just looking back to assess the scene and see what goes down. It looks as if Lewis Hamilton is going to just about hold on in front of Alonso, but look at the gap we have built up over the rest of the field as we now come through the Curva Grande after turn 1 and 2. But my goodness me, what a start here on this first lap. And this is the start we needed after a fantastic race last time out in Belgium, and we're winning again here. This is unprecedented for any of my F1 career mates. But is that Fernando Alonso in front of Lewis Hamilton? It is. Vettel's gone through as well. I forgot to mention he's now my rival for the rest of the season, just purely because he was the closest person in terms of proximity points-wise to me, because he was only 3 points off me. I thought, well, I might as well choose Vettel. In hindsight, maybe I should have chosen Daniel Ricciardo, but I thought it seems like an easier thing to have a rivalry with Sebastian Vettel than it does with Ricciardo, because he's just smiling constantly. So I thought I would just bail out on that one. As we go through Ascari there, we've got a 3.2 second gap. I can't even see second place. You can't even see second place on the minimap. What a lead we have built up over, crucially, our teammate. A 1-2 here for Ferrari at Monza in front of the Tifosi. You just don't write scripts like this. Even Codemasters can't write scripts like this. This is absolutely, like, monumental, phenomenal scenes here. The absolute scenes, they're legendary here in Monza. But we're on to lap 3 now, which means DRS has been activated. Not that it matters a jot at the moment, seeing as we're not close to anyone whatsoever. But Alonso has now managed to break past Sebastian Vettel, who, judging by his blue dot, has dropped quite a long way down the order. But Fernando Alonso now just a second behind. He's managed to bridge the gap actually quite a lot as Alonso. His pace at the moment is actually fantastic. Bridged that gap by 2.3 seconds over 3 laps. But look at this, we've locked up an absolute treat down into turn 1. We're going to have to go through the polystyrene boards. I can't be bothered with the 3rd set, so we're just going to go across the grass here. But Fernando Alonso is going to go through there as we have to snail it there down the escape road. And we've just thrown away the lead. We've just completely done a Nico Rosberg in real life for Mercedes. and we've lost the lead. And now moving on to lap 5, despite going purple on this lap, Fernando Alonso has actually managed to stretch a gap over us now to 1.1 seconds there, as Hamilton, Ricciardo, and I think Sebastian Vettel in 6th place, sorry, I think it'll be Rosberg after that, are now following us, but they're a long way back. We have got a massive lead at the moment in terms of this 1-2. It's looking absolutely fantastic at the moment for Ferrari, with Alonso, you know, a decent way in front of ourselves. We've got the assistance of DRS, but the gap back to Ricciardo is 5.2 seconds. That's massive now. On to lap 7. There with the assistance of DRS down that straight. We're closing in Alonso, sort of, but not enough really to make a move at the moment, although we are going to be in the slipstream here through the Curva Grande, which for some reason does seem to be very overpowered at the moment, and you can see us bearing down there, not even really in the wheel tracks, but we're bearing down massively. We feint to the right, go to the left there, up the inside, go purple there through the first sector, and up the inside of our teammate there. Lovely there, clean move up the inside of Fernando Alonso, who's looking back now in towards Lesmo 1. He looks for the inside line, but we cover that off with a nice defensive move there. Going a little bit wide there on exit of Lesmo 1, Alonso thinks about a move up the inside into Lesmo 2. But he can't make the move stick there through that second Lesmo, and we do in fact hold on. This battling, however, isn't really helping ourselves, because obviously now Ricciardo will be catching us a little bit, but that's not going to stop Fernando Alonso with the assistance of DRS now down towards Ascari, just breezing around the outside, and he's made the move stick. Fair dues to Alonso, that's an absolutely brilliant move. There as our tyres look as if they're going off, because we're sliding through Ascari. Absolutely appalling traction there on exit of Ascari, all the way through Ascari, actually, not even just on exit. But now we're going to have a little look at the classification. You can see that at the bottom corner, obviously a lot of people, or the bottom of the screen, sorry, a lot of people are on the option tyre at the moment. Obviously that will make a lot of sense, but Alonso is leading this race, of course, from myself. Daniel Ricciardo there in 3rd as well, so it's looking like a good race for himself. But there you can see Mercedes a long way down the order in comparison to what they usually would be. They're not that far down the order. Of course, Nico Rosberg has now taken 4th, and Vettel has dropped to 7th as well, as you'll be able to see on the classification. But in the background there, as that starts to move away now, we are making our first pit stop of the day, moving from the option tyre to the now harder compound, the prime tyre, as Kevin Magnussen and Valtteri Bottas breeze past us. Lewis Hamilton there coming into the pit lane there briefly as well behind us. Big gap we've now got over Lewis Hamilton, who's probably the biggest challenger in this race when you look at raw pace. I think we can deal with Fernando Alonso's pace. We've also got the undercut, of course, on Fernando Alonso, who will be coming in now. Doesn't look as if it's going to make much of a difference, though, because we're going into 3rd now briefly as we go up into 2nd there past Daniel Ricciardo in the pit lane. But Fernando Alonso, despite us getting the undercut, has managed to stay in front of us there. He's now on the prime tyre as well. Now, interestingly enough, the game actually told me that I needed to do a 2 prime strategy. If you don't know what that means, basically means option, then prime, then prime. I think I can go option, prime, option, but it means the AI probably going to go for an option, prime, prime. But in the meantime, we're going up the inside there. Fernando Alonso down into turn 1. Will we get it turned in? No, we don't, because we lock up again down into that chicane, this time bumping over a sleeping policeman, and Fernando Alonso yet again just breezes past there on the exit of turns 1 and 2. Ricciardo there still in 3rd, and Rosberg in 4th, but after this pit stop now, Lewis Hamilton down in 5th place. Not a good pit stop for himself. Here you can see on the replay, they're just locking up that tyre. Fernando Alonso must have been laughing to himself. As we now move on to lap 13 with the assistance of DRS again, we're bearing down Alonso. Will we actually be able to make the move stick this time? It's from a long way back, not really much of an overlap, but we do just about to get the move done there. That's actually a pretty nice move, a very clean move, this time making sure our braking zone, our braking point was very much on point there this time. And getting the move done, and at the halfway stage of this race, we now lead again in front of Fernando Alonso, but crucially, we've still got this Ferrari 1-2 going on as we now go purple there through the first sector. Daniel Ricciardo, I think, holds the fastest lap of the race at the moment, as you may have seen a little bit earlier on. But now onto lap 14, and Fernando Alonso is bearing down on us again now as we head down towards the Parabolica. He ducks out of a move, though, around the outside. I would have commended him massively if he could have made a move around the outside of the Parabolica. That would have been absolutely fantastic. He hasn't, however, but it does mean he will get the DRS down this home straight, and, of course, crucially, the slipstream as well. So we'll have to see what Alonso can do here. We duck to the inside, but it looks as if Alonso is going to try and make this move stick as a backmarker comes out of the pit lane. Alonso there braking far later than us and just sweeping across us and makes the move stick there. We've got a lot of oversteer, there through both sections there of the chicane. And we've lost the lead again. Fernando Alonso taking it off us. Again, how inconsiderate. Well, at least the Tifosi will still be screaming because obviously Fernando Alonso is leading the race. Oh, well, that was until moments ago, in fact, when Alonso pitted, which means he's got the undercut on us, although earlier on in the race the undercut didn't work for us, so we'll have to see whether it works for Fernando Alonso. And we managed to go to lap 19, which I think was the lap after we were meant to pit, so we managed to stretch those prime tyres out, and it means that we can now have a nice option stint till the end of the race. Now, obviously, depending on what Alonso is on, this could be either a very, very simple last stint or one where we're still having to battle with Alonso if he's chosen the options as well. But in the immediate future, we're actually ahead of Fernando Alonso. We've got the overcut on the Spaniard as we go down into turn 1 here. Alonso, well, he's all over the back of us, it has to be said, and he's on prime tyres as well. Now, realistically, or theoretically, we should be able to hold on very easily, although Alonso looking around the outside of us there through the Curva Grande. But for the rest of the race, for this last stint, we should be theoretically a lot quicker now than anyone else who's on the prime tyres. Of course, including Fernando Alonso here onto lap 19. So this is looking really good for ourselves at the moment, but yet again, for the third time in the race, we've outbroken ourselves into turn 1, and yet again we have to go through the escape road, round those polystyrene boards, and Alonso from a long way back this time is going to go right around the outside, getting very, very close, and being in a 1-2 situation, this isn't exactly ideal. I'm sure the Ferrari bosses in the crowd and on the pit wall are having heart palpitations at the moment, but we've managed to go up the inside there, managed to get that switchback move, very similar to one that Ricciardo pulled on Sebastian Vettel in real life down into that second chicane, and a nice move in the end there, back past Fernando Alonso. But Alonso here on these prime tyres is actually managing to stick with us pretty well here now into lap 21, trying to go right around the outside, but this time we do break late enough. We did break a little bit earlier than Alonso, being conservative, but we did just manage to stick it back up the inside. Daniel Ricciardo also doing a very good job of holding up Hamilton. That is until lap 24. As you can see, we managed to go purple now until lap 24 and managed to stretch a gap of 4.2 seconds over Fernando Alonso behind. And have a little look at the classification at the bottom of the screen again. Just basically actually to show you that we are the only people on the option tyres, and as we manage to scroll down the classification, you'll see the only other person on the option tyres is actually Kamui Kobayashi, the man that we're just about to lap now. So everyone behind us is on prime tyres. This should, in theory, be a very, very easy stint. So, in bearing that in mind, it seems as if nothing is going to happen for us. In the meantime, however, Lewis Hamilton has managed to dispatch Daniel Ricciardo and is now all over the back of Fernando Alonso. This is now moving on to the penultimate lap of the race, lap 26 of this 27-lap race, and through Ascari you can see Fernando Alonso being harangued here by Lewis Hamilton. This the battle for second place. If Alonso can hold on, it's a 1-2 here for the red of Ferrari in front of their home crowd, but as you can see, Hamilton there ducking to the outside, now moving to the inside, down towards the Parabolica, and up the inside he goes. Lewis Hamilton has taken second place. He's stolen the 1-2 offers on the penultimate lap of the race. Of course, the last action you saw of us was on lap 24 of 27, this being on lap 26 of 27, and Hamilton now, as you can see on our own timing screen, is up into second place, and that is a massive blow in terms of how romantic this, or how poetic this race was going to be in the end. But I suppose first and third, if Alonso can hold on to third in front of Ricciardo and Rosberg, will still be a very good result. In our immediate future, however, ignoring everything that's going on behind, we are about to take our second win in a row. Like, we've not even really discussed that massively. We are heading here towards a very easy and dominant, in a way, win in this last stint due to the strategy and due to everyone else behind us being on the prime tyres. And now as we weave down the back straight, now coming through the Parabolica, we are surely now going to take our second win in a row. We won in Belgium, and now we come across the line to win here in Monza. If there was a single way to become popular racing for Ferrari in only a third race, it would probably be to win in Monza in front of the Tifosi. We've done them proud. We have won here, taking the full 25 points for the second race in a row. First time in Belgium, obviously after that podium in Hungary. Some fantastic drives to start our Ferrari career. We win the race in front of Hamilton, Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo. You'll have seen the rest of the top 10, which was rounded out by Valtteri Bottas in the background, but the main thing is what a race that was. Some fantastic battles with Fernando Alonso. A weird race though, in the sense that he was the only person we actually saw or really engaged with, you know, in terms of battle through the entire race. It was a very odd one. Here's how it affects the championship. Hamilton now back in the lead by 6 points in front of Rosberg, Ricciardo, myself now stretching that gap over Vettel, and then Alonso in 6th. And here is how it affects the Constructors' Championship. We are now massively stretching away from Force India in 3rd. Force India, of course, in 4th in front of McLaren and Williams, but Mercedes top of the Constructors' Championship in front of Red Bull still. But here we are celebrating our second win in a row. Is it the first time we've ever done that in history? think it may well have been, actually. But obviously our third win of the season after our win in Bahrain for Force India, now 2 wins for Ferrari in our first 3 races. We have taken a really, really good points haul. Probably top of any form table you could make there as we celebrate with Lewis Hamilton in Parc Ferme. But I really hope you've enjoyed this episode of F1 2014 Career Mode. A really crazy race in terms of battling with our teammate in front of our home crowd here in Monza. Really romantic race, I suppose you could say. Pretty poetic in the end to take the win in front of the Tifosi. But if you did enjoy this video, feel free to drop a like below. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy. It just tells me that you are enjoying the series. I won't put a specific milestone on, but if you could smack the like button, that would really, really help me out, and I would massively appreciate it. Feel free to drop a comment if you enjoyed the video that much, as well as your thoughts on that race or any way that I can improve the series. And subscribe if you are new around here as well. But in the meantime, have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.